Hi, this is Tai Fujimura. I'm the founder of Cantilever. And today I want to share a trick we used on a recent project to make really unique buttons with a particularly cool hover effect. And to give you a sense of this project, this is a podcast called Conversations with Tyler, and we developed the website for them. And the podcast is all about thinking outside the box, about big issues, and coming up with really unique ideas by thinking differently. And so we wanted to create a site that really pushed the boundaries of what's normally done online and use some really unique effects to drive that point across about their brand and the way that the show is intended to resonate with the audience. So all of the little interactions on the site are a little bit funky, a little bit unexpected. And we wanted to create a feeling of disorientation with some of the user interface, which is very uncommon. But it's what the client asked for, and we thought it was a great fit with their brand. So without further ado, you can see these buttons down here. These are big, fat, primary call to action buttons, and they have this sort of notch cut out of the bottom left corner and the top right corner. And that makes it sort of look 3D, but you can't quite tell whether it's outdented or indented or what kind of angle you're looking at it from if you think of it as a box. And then what happens on hover is when you hover over the button, the orientation flips. So you have this sudden shift to where the box, if you're looking at it as a box, is transposed, or your camera, if you think of it that way, is moved. So you're looking at it from a different angle. And so we really like that sense of disorientation that it gives you, which is not usually something we shoot for in our user interfaces, but in this case it was spot on. And so I wanted to share the way that we put this together because it's an effect that we don't see all that often on the web and we think more people should know about. So I'm going to show you the CSS for this button now. So there's a bunch of other CSS to define the various other attributes of how the button works, but what we're looking at in particular is this clip path rule. And what clip path does is it takes your normal box for whatever element you're dealing with, and it actually crops it based on a subset of shapes, and they support things like circle, square, but they also support a polygon. And what you can do with a polygon is you can define a custom shape that is based on a series of points. So within the polygon rule here, you can see how it's defining an initial point at 0, 0, which is the top left, and then the next point is using a calc to put the next point almost at the very right edge of the box, and 0 on the y-axis, which is our first turn there in the top left corner. And it goes on around the shape like that with these comma-separated values that define where the different points should appear. And this is really powerful because you can give it whatever shape you want. You could make a star, a cross, anything that you can think of, and it's all done in this really clean syntax that'll be familiar to you if you've dealt with SVGs. But what's even cooler is that browsers can actually tween the clip path value. So all you have to do to create an animation between the two, which is what we have here, all you have to do is give it a suitable CSS transition property. In our case, we're transitioning lots of stuff, so we have the all here, but you could also transition clip path. And override the clip path when the user hovers over the button. And in this case, we're just changing the clip path into a different polygon that has this sort of reversed polarity that I talked about. And that creates this really unique effect. And you can see it even better if I kind of slow down the transition. And what you can see here is when I hover over it now, it does the same animation, but it's slower, so you can kind of tell a little bit better what it's doing. And to give you an even better sense, I can actually manipulate the corners of this by modifying the way that the clip path is drawn. And so you'll notice within the clip path, we have all these measurements, which are 0.25 rem. That's kind of a definition of the edge or the corner depth. And what I'll do is replace all of those with 1 rem to make it much fatter so you can see it better. And of course, if we were using this code over and over and in different parts of our code base, we would kind of abstract this out into a variable, but for now I have to kind of select them all. And here, when we come back, you can see the fatter corners, and with the slow transition, you can kind of see it shift like that. So this is a really unique effect. We didn't know ahead of time that you could actually animate clip path. And now that we know, we're going to use it in lots of other contexts as well. You might be wondering about browser support. ClipPath itself is only supported in Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. for the major browsers, not supported in Edge, but in many projects that's going to be fine. And of course, the fallback in Edge is that you have rectangular buttons, which isn't the end of the world. So yeah, check out more about ClipPath. There's a great article on CSS tricks by Chris Coyer, which we'll link in the YouTube notes. And yeah, give it a try and feel free to comment if you give this technique a shot in one of your projects.